So we finally got the finals that we wanted. I think we got the finals that we wanted. The Spurs and the Knicks, because a lot of people were sick of SGA flopping, and it was a narrative where he was just shooting free throws. Now SGA did shoot a lot of free throws, and I don't think he was such a flopper. I thought he was using the advantage of this game, just like James Harden, just like Trey Young. And a lot of times when SGA wasn't getting fouled, he would get 44, 48, close to 50 points. So I feel like if you go into the line that many times, like, it's just hard to stop. But the Spurs became everyone's hero. The Knicks became everyone's hero. And that's why we got the finals that we have today. But what I don't want to do is take away from what the Knicks are doing. Because we get into this narrative where people saying that the Knicks haven't played anybody. Well, if you ask me, their road to the finals is harder than the Spurs. The Spurs played the Portland Trailblazers, that was in the play-in, an injury-riddled Minnesota team that Anthony Edwards was on his last leg and didn't have Dante DiVincenzo. And, you know, Amadou Simbu missed the game. Then they go to OKC. J Dub is a fraction of himself. You might as well say he didn't even play. Then AJ Mitchell was getting hot, and he missed 2 games. And it still took the Spurs 7 games to be an injury riddled OKC team. Now look who the Knicks had to beat. They were down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks, who's the third best team after the All-Star break besides the Spurs and the OKC. After they went down 2-1, they did not lose a game. They swept the Philadelphia 76ers, who overcame the Boston Celtics, who was one of the favorites to come out the East, despite Jaylen Brown carrying that team for the whole season. Then they beat, they end up sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers, who went 7 games against the number one seed, the Detroit Pistons, who was heavily favored to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's just the Knicks made them niggas look bad. So that's not the Knicks' fault. But yeah, San Antonio or OKC, if they would have went to the finals, they would have had a much easier road to get there than New York did. OKC played Phoenix Suns, who was in the play-in, and the Lakers team that Austin Reeves was out a couple of games. LeBron James was on his last leg at 41, carrying that team, and then they get to go against San Antonio. So what I'm thinking is, if the Knicks sweep the Spurs, it would be because of Wemby and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander beat each other up in 7 games. That's what I think. But looking at the history of the Spurs and the Knicks since Wemby been there, we got some exciting games. We had the one game, I think it was a year or two ago. I think it was last year when the Spurs beat the Knicks by 2 in San Antonio. Wemby had 40, Jalen Brunson had 60. And then we had the NBA in-season tournament this year where the Knicks showed that they were a much more experienced team and handled San Antonio. So I feel like the Knicks is not going to sweep San Antonio, but I do think the Knicks will win the finals. But if the Knicks end up sweeping San Antonio, I would not be surprised because this New York team is something special. Jalen Brunson, Cole Anthony Towns, who's not scoring the 20 plus points a game, but he's getting rebounds. So no one's saying that he's not picking up a slack. They're saying it's a sacrifice. And he might be sacrificing offensive points, but just like San Antonio, there's someone picking up that offensive slack. Shamit off the bench, barely missing any threes. OG Anunoby, he's going to get that 18 or 19 if Cat's not going to get it. Then Josh Hart, he's going to get 12. We've seen Mikal Bridges score like 18, 17 after he struggled the first series against Atlanta. So I feel like this is going to be a good finals, but wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks swept San Antonio because they're a young team. And San Antonio isn't acting like, oh, we're young. San Antonio, that youthful attitude is why they're in the finals. They had all the utmost confidence in the world that they could beat OKC. They just needed to play them in the playoffs. And if I was OKC, I would not panic because remember, J Dub was out. AJ Mitchell, who became a star for you guys and a key player in the middle of the season, he was out. the later half of the series, and y'all still took the Spurs to 7. So I mean, Chet, he did disappear. Maybe he could play better if they went up against the Spurs in next year's playoffs. But I hope OKC don't break it up just to get Giannis, just because this bad times that they had in the NBA, Western Conference Final. Because I'm telling you, the Spurs, like, they won in Game 7, but OKC was far from 100%.
Who's going to win game 7?
Let me tell you something. If the Thunder win game 7, reach the finals, and somehow go back to back, do you know what happens next? Kids will start flopping, just like SGA does. And that's the part nobody wants to talk about. Every generation imitates its champions. Kids copied Steph Curry's shooting. They copied Kobe's fadeaway. They copied Michael Jordan's footwork. They copied LeBron's chase down blocks and dunks. Champions influence the future of the sport. So what exactly are young players supposed to learn from this? Snapping your head back? Looking at referees after every possession? Hunting for whistles instead of finishing through contact? That's not the direction basketball should be heading. So who's going to win game 7? Victor Wembanyama. And it has to be him. In game 1, Thunder defenders were grabbing him, pulling him, leaning on him every possession. Did he spend the entire night complaining to officials? No. He kept playing. He attacked the rim. He blocked shots. He competed. That matters because young fans are watching. They're watching how stars react when things don't go their way. And Wembanyama's answer is usually basketball. That's why I believe he represents.
So the one thing that I'm seeing in common with both the Knicks and the Spurs is people stepping up in key moments. Like De'Aaron Fox and Keldon Johnson was key when it came to hitting big shots for the Spurs to advance in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. Now, what I think is going to be key to winning any championship is how the role players will play in those defining moments. In the Knicks sweep of the Cavs, you had Landry Shamet, Mitchell Robinson, and you also had Mikal Bridges, the people you would least expect. You expected, Jalen Brunson. You know what he's going to do. Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, you know what he can do. OG Anunoby. But it was actually Mikal Bridges and Shamet that was putting on the finishing touches on the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I expected that with the hot start Vassell and Castle got against the Thunder, when that game got a little bit close, it was Keldon Johnson and De'Aaron Fox that was making the key shots to extend the lead and lock it down for the San Antonio Spurs. So we already know Wemby. Wemby is kind of a like every other day guy. He'll have like 33 one game, then he'll have 20 or 18 the next. 41 game, then he'll barely get 20 the next. And his presence is more than scoring. That's what people forget about Wemby. SGA's main offense is the mid-range game. And earlier in that series, SGA had a hard time going over 30 because Wemby was just protecting that paint. Now, the games OKC stayed competitive and won, they were able to somehow get Wemby away from that painted area. Now, what I'm worried about is Jalen Brunson. I mean, he can hit threes. He also can hit the mid-range, but he likes to drive to the hole and hit that little step back 10 to 13 footer in that range. And if Wemby is protecting that lane like that, will Cat be able to hit the threes? Or will Cat be able to draw Wemby out of the lane so Brunson, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges can get their shots? Even OG Anunoby is a capable spot up 3-point shooter, but you don't want to become one dimensional against the Spurs. Now, what the Knicks will have to worry about is how fast the Spurs are. The Spurs are playing Wemby and four guards basically most of the time. You have De'Aaron Fox, Champagne, Vassell, and Castle. Those are four guards. It's barely you even get a four in there. Like you might have Luke Cornett sometimes, but you still getting Dylan Harper off the bench and Keldon Johnson, who is like a three at best. So the Spurs are real small, but they're real fast. And I wonder if the Knicks can hang with that, or if the Knicks can counteract that with getting every rebound, getting a lot of offensive rebounds. Because I remember when OKC would tie the series and get their home field advantage back, they got a lot of offensive rebounds in those wins with Hartstein and Chet taking advantage of San Antonio's small lineup. So, like I said before, the role players is going to play a huge role. Would Shamit continue to be on fire from three? Will Mitch Robinson be a force on the rebounds? And will he be able to wear Wemby down in some sort of fashion? And will the Knicks be able to like stick to Wemby? Because I feel like Mitchell Robinson can't, stick with Wemby, but at least Cat would have a better chance of guarding Wemby's 3-point shot. Now, if they can force Wemby as a 3-point shooter and he's only hitting 30% instead of like 40 or 50%, the Knicks would have a good chance because San Antonio is so small they wouldn't be able to get any rebounds. Because you still got a traditional four and OG who can play the three, and a traditional three in Mikal Bridges who's a good defensive player too. So it's going to be interesting, the physical style of the New York Knicks versus the speed and quickness of the Spurs. I don't know. Who's ever will gets imposed the most, that's who's gonna win this finals. But man, I'm going for the Knicks. I ain't gonna lie. I'm supposed to be impartial because I'm a Laker fan, but it's just time for the Knicks to win. If they don't win with this squad, I think you gotta break the team up and give up at least two pieces and try to do anything to get Giannis. I would trade. I would even give up Mikal Bridges and Cat and 2 first rounders for Giannis. I mean, at least you would still have OG, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, you know what I mean? You have Shamit, you have Miles McBride. Like, because if this ain't the Knicks team to win it, I don't think it will ever be a Knicks team that could win it. So, yeah, we got to get this done, New York Knicks. We got to bring it back to the East. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm voting for the Knicks. I'm not going to lie.
もっとディフェンダーが必要です。チェット、今だ。ディフェンスファウル、0両2本。これが終わりですか。
何してるの。立ち上がれ未来の私。2021年の U19 ワールドカップ決勝でチェットに完敗した時のことを忘れ。
Now, one thing we learned from this playoffs, it doesn't matter how many stars you have. You got to have depth. If you don't have depth, you just can't win in this NBA. And that's the sad thing about LeBron James and the Lakers. I know it's a lot of fans that want the Lakers to move on from LeBron James, but it's the NBA, and the NBA is business. And even the Lakers, even though the Lakers are a huge brand, bringing LeBron back for his last year and having a retirement tour and a farewell tour is just worth too much for the Lakers. Even if they gotta pay LeBron a max for 1 year for 55 million, 52 million, man, they're gonna make almost $1 billion off the retirement tour and the merch and the TV rights to their games. And the gate, it's gonna be ridiculous. And we seen what the Lakers did with Kobe. They gave him 96 million on in the last 2 years when he wasn't in his prime. So what if they just say fuck it and just give LeBron 100 million for 2 years and say we're going the business route, and then take a chance on losing Luka because Luka says, okay, I want to go to another team. I've been here for 3 years and we're nowhere near getting a title. The Lakers can screw this thing up, man. And the Lakers are always, going with the old model of getting free agents instead of building from within, like what you see in Detroit, Boston, OKC, and San Antonio Spurs do. But the Lakers can't develop players. Out of their greatest players of all time, Magic Johnson, Shaq, Kobe, Their three greatest players, Anthony Davis, besides Magic Johnson, that's the only one they drafted was Magic Johnson. All the other great Lakers players been via trade or free agency, and we got the same with LeBron James. So maybe it's time to get rid of Rob Pelinka and say, let's get a general manager that know how to build within. And I heard that they got new management, so maybe moving on from Jeannie Buss, or I don't know if Jeannie Buss is with that management group or that new ownership group, but maybe they need to bring in a GM that has a history of building teams from within instead of always trying to bring a superstar that ever already was established for 4 or 5 years somewhere else. Like if they try to get Giannis already had a long career somewhere else. But if you pair him with Luca and they end up winning a title within the next 3 years, once again the Lakers establish themselves as a prime franchise destination because they win championships and you get a lot of business and other financial opportunities just by being in LA. So a lot of fans want them to move on from LeBron. Some fans might say, well, if it wasn't for LeBron, we wouldn't be where we were at. But remember, LeBron was the third option during the regular season. When Luca, Austin Reeves, and the whole team was healthy, LeBron only started doing well because he had to. They didn't have no one else on the team. So he was out without Luca, you were without Austin Reeves, so you had to do well in the playoff series against Houston because they didn't have no one else to turn to. But my problem with the Lakers is you bring LeBron back on a 2-year max, you still got to pay Austin Reeves 40 million a year, or Austin Reeves can just walk. He can deny his option and just say, "I'm gonna take 40 million from someone that would pay him 40 million a year," like the Bulls. The Bulls gave Zach LaVine like 45, 48 million dollars a year, and look where Zach LaVine is now. He's in the Sacramento Kings on an expiring contract. So it's people out there other than the Lakers that would love to pay Austin Reeves a lot of money. Now the Lakers might say, well, we've seen him in the playoffs and we can move on from Austin Reeves. But Luca wants to be there. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I feel like the Lakers can talk Luca into saying, okay, we can get LeBron James to stay for 2 more years, and then the team is yours. But the team was already his with LeBron there. So I mean, it's so much involved with this LeBron thing. Like, do the Lakers have the guts to move on from LeBron, or would they just go the financial route and the clout route and the popularity route and saying, let's give LeBron this last 2-year max or this 1-year max so he can have his farewell tour because he did so well for the NBA instead of being the strict business minded franchise that want to look into the future and be like, okay, with this 52 million or 100 million, we can use this elsewhere and build a team around Luca. Or they can make an excuse and say, well, there's no one out there that's worth it. Let's just give LeBron this money and then LeBron can just age overnight and completely stink next year. And the Lakers are fighting to get into playing again. It'll be interesting to see.
Under a minute. It's a 2-possession game. Bounce. James. Yes, sir! One hand.